But there has been a lot of action going on at the Iowa State Capitol today. Very pleased to have with us on the program State Representative Matt Winchittle. And Representative, thank you so much for your time tonight, sir.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. All right, so I'm looking here at a story just from a short time ago. The Des Moines Register, Iowa House passes proposed right to bear arms constitutional amendment. What can you tell us about this bill?
Well, this is something that we've been wanting to do here in Iowa for quite a while, and quite frankly, we had some troubles with the bill in committee. There was not enough support to get it out as it was, and it got amended in committee, which greatly watered down the overall intent. But we got on the floor of the Iowa House tonight, and we passed the strongest, most precise protections for Iowan Second Amendment rights than any other state has in their state constitution. The bill now goes to the Senate, where hopefully we can convince the liberal senators over there that this is something that Iowans need.
So what I'm looking here at the Des Moines Register. Let me just read this, and you tell me if there's more to add here. It says, under a tweak to the amendment's language, it now bars the state from infringing or denying a person's right to, quote, acquire, keep, possess, transport, carry, transfer, and use arms, and would prohibit firearm licensing, registration, or special taxation, in addition to echoing the original language of the Second Amendment.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, the language we have, like I said, is the most precise and specific protections that you can draw up for Second Amendment rights without putting an end on it. It is very open-ended to make sure that if there's future judicial interpretations, that we're not limiting ourselves with future technology advances.
Now, is it true, Representative, that there were members of the Democrat minority who actually left the Capitol because they didn't want to debate these bills?
They gave a number of excuses, but the plain and simple answer is yes. When we came in this morning, we have debate calendars, and once bills are on the calendars, you can just reasonably assume that, hey, these bills are going to get debated at some point. We came in this morning, we went to caucus, we told the Democrats, hey, these are the bills we're going to look at today. These bills had been on the calendar. Democrats said, oh, my, you didn't tell us about these, and they actually left the Capitol for about 6 hours today. And then they finally came back and tried to make it sound like we were trying to pull the rug out from underneath them. And it's absolutely not true. They just didn't want to vote on these Second Amendment issues.
All right, now this is, as I said, this was one of two pieces of legislation. The other piece of legislation is, in essence, Castle Doctrine legislation, stand your ground legislation?
Absolutely. It is an enhanced Castle Doctrine and stand your ground combined piece of legislation. It creates presumptive protections for your home, your place of business or employment, and your vehicle to add a little bit extra protection for Iowans out there who use reasonable force to defend themselves. But it also extends to any place an Iowan has a lawful right to be present.
Okay. Now, I understand that, again, there was some scaremongering going on with this bill. What was the phrase? This would turn Iowa into the wild, wild west?
If I had a nickel for every time I've had some liberal tell me that we're turning Iowa into the wild, wild west, I would not have to have a full-time employment outside the legislature. It's ludicrous to think that Iowans who are reasonable, responsible people cannot handle the responsibility of being able to have the right to defend themselves. It's just asinine that people actually say that.
Well, it is. I mean, especially considering the number of states that have passed similar legislation, or at least Castle Doctrine legislation or stand your ground legislation in the past couple of years. No state has ever tried to rescind a stand your ground or Castle Doctrine laws. It's kind of absurd. I mean, and it's kind of scary, I'll be honest with you, Representative, to see, so many elected officials saying, no, we really don't need to enhance people's right of self-defense or make sure that it is strong and secure.
Well, one of the common themes that I always see is that the liberals out there, they have this mentality that if we create these safe zones, if we restrict Iowans' Second Amendment rights, all of a sudden we're protecting Iowans. What they don't seem to understand, and I try and explain this to them in the most passionate fashion that I can, is that when you create these weapons-free zones or when you restrict an Iowan's ability to defend themselves, you're giving the upper hand to the criminal. The criminal doesn't care what the law says. They're going to break the law anyway. We need to be protecting law-abiding citizens' rights. And they just, for some reason, they can't fathom that. It just doesn't work for them.
So the bottom line is, though, this measure passed the Iowa House today as well.
Absolutely. We actually had it passed with bipartisan support. I was one of my Democrat colleagues, who's a friend of mine, chose that this was the right bill to vote for, and he voted to help pass this out of the House. It passed, I want to say, 60 to 39, well, 60 to 38, I believe.
60 to 38. All right, so both of these bills now go over to the Senate side for consideration. For those not as familiar with Iowa politics as you are, Representative, what is the makeup of the Senate by and large in terms of support for the Second Amendment?
The easiest way I could describe it is the Iowa Senate right now is the most liberal Senate the state has ever seen. And as far as support for Second Amendment rights, I've already heard from the Vice Chairman of the Judiciary Committee over in the Senate where these bills would go, say, well, absolutely not. We're not taking up Second Amendment issues. They're divisive. Iowans don't need this. We're here to focus on jobs and the economy. Well, quite frankly, yeah, some of us campaign on jobs and the economy, but some of us did campaign on advancing Iowans' Second Amendment rights. So for the liberal Senate over there to say that we're not going to take up these bills, that's just a shame and a disappointment.
Well, absolutely, and I hope that gun owners make their voices heard to their state senators, and hopefully we can get them to reconsider that. In the meantime, Rod from Mason City, Iowa, wrote in tonight. Representative says, please tell Representative Winchell thanks for all his hard work in standing up for Iowans tonight.
Well, I appreciate that. I actually, during the debate, because I ran both these bills on the floor, during the debate I was getting email after email and Facebook post after Facebook post, people just saying, hey, keep up the fight, keep up the work, text messages. So that was really encouraging. And just, Ron, if you're out there, if you're listening, we're going to keep pushing. We're not done here. We're going to continue to fight for our Second Amendment rights and our rights to self-defense. This is not the end. This is only the beginning.
Representative, thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. A real pleasure talking to you, and congratulations on a good day today, sir.
Hey, I appreciate it, and I just want to extend a thanks to the thousands of Iowans out there that helped contact legislators and get this legislation moved forward, as well as the National Rifle Association and Iowa Firearms Coalition. They have been instrumental in moving this legislation.
Representative Matt Winchell from Iowa joined us on the program tonight.